Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. A very simple graphic in the lower left corner. That's Maharaj Parikshit kneeling. Of course, yesterday Shukadeva Goswami was over on the right side, and his complexion of Shukadeva Goswami is darkish, not the same as Shama, but darkish in complexion. And Maharaj Parikshit is the grandson of the Pandavas. Let's hear a little bit about how he got his name, Maharaj Parikshit. Parikshit means the examiner. Remember that? Yeah. So this is review. So when Maharaj Parikshit, was still within the womb of his mother Uttara, Uttara saw that Ashvatthama, a Brahmana, wanted to kill the child he wanted to kill the remaining descendants of the Pandavas. He thought that would be a nice service. Kill all the descendants in the family line. And the only one that was remaining, because he had killed the other ones, the only one remaining was the unborn child. So Ashvatthama, being a Brahmana, he knew how to use weapons of the Brahmastra category. Astra means weapon. And the Brahmastra weapon is an invincible weapon. Once it's released, nothing can check it except Krishna can check it. So she, the mother, saw the Brahmastra coming her way. And she immediately offered prayers. We'll hear her prayer. And Krishna reciprocated immediately. Krishna came in between the Brahmastra, in between the Brahmastra and himself, and Krishna checked the Brahmastra. So Maharaj Parikshit, he saw Krishna while he was still in the womb, before he was even born. He saw Krishna. And thereafter, he was always looking for Krishna. Where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? He was very Krishna conscious. Wanted to see Krishna. Therefore, Parikshit, the examiner. Is Krishna here? Is Krishna there? So here's a verse from Canto 1, chapter 12. Because he constantly contemplated the Lord whom he had seen in the womb and searched for him among all men, he was famous as Parikshit, or the examiner, in this world. There's the verse from Canto 1, chapter 12. This is review. In Canto 10, chapter 86, we find this wonderful story of Arjuna kidnapping Subhadra. So I narrated the reason why Arjuna was on pilgrimage. So I'm not going to review that because I want to go on with other things. But he was for purification reasons. For 1 year, he had taken a tour he started way up in north. There was a purpose behind it. Was a purpose. The whole thing has Leela. So that and part of the Leela, he ended up way over on the western side of India, because he went the north and then he went south and he went around the west side and up the west side and ended up near Dwarka. And when he was near Dwarka, he had a desire to meet Subhadra. Krishna found out, because Krishna is omniscient, that Arjuna is nearby, so he sent a messenger and invited Arjuna to not dress as a warrior, but disguise himself as a Brahmana, come into Dwarka, and my elder brother, Balaram, he likes to honor brahmanas that come to his home and feed them. And this way, Subhadra, our sister, she'll bring your meals. And you'll get to see her, she get to see you, and you'll see what chemistry happens. And the chemistry happened. And many things happened. The whole chapter is dedicated to the many things that happened, but he ended up kidnapping her. And by Krishna's plan, it was Krishna's plan. It was Krishna's arrangement. The whole thing was Krishna's arrangement. So Subhadra ended up being married to Arjuna. And after some time, they had a son, and son became known as Abhimanyu. And Abhimanyu then married the daughter of the king. What was the king's name? Do you remember the king's name? Virat. You know these stories, huh? Some? Good. King Virat had a kingdom, and the Pandavas, the 5 Pandavas, they and Draupadi concealed their identities and lived in his palace incognito. And we told some of that story. But when the hero Arjun rescued the cows that had been usurped by some men, so Arjuna, went and got his arrows hung from a sami tree outside of the kingdom with the son of the king. And when the king found out, wait a minute, you're not just a dance teacher for my daughter, you're Arjuna. You're a hero. And she's a princess. She's of marriageable age. Can you marry my daughter? We heard this discussion yesterday. And so Arjun said no, because it would be not proper for a teacher to marry his student. But I have a son, and he's of marriageable age, and maybe they could become married. And so their marriage was arranged. Abhimanyu, the son, married Uttara, the daughter. And then Abhimanyu, was a great, great hero, just like his father was a great, great hero. And he was mercilessly killed on the 13th day of the battle. I said it wrong yesterday. 13th day. He was so intense of a fighter, they decided we have to deal with this fellow. So they vyuha, chakra vyuha. They made circles around, he couldn't get out, and we heard the whole thing. Killed 7 generals ganging up on him. So Abhimanyu, together with Uttara, his wife, they had a pregnant child. So during the battle, the Ashvatthama had fired this Brahmastra weapon to kill Maharaj Parikshit, and she made this very nice prayer to Krishna. Here's her prayer. Oh, my Lord, you are all powerful. A fiery iron arrow is coming towards me fast. My Lord, let me burn personally if you so desire, but please do not let it burn and abort my embryo. Please do me this favor, oh my Lord. So this is Canto 1, Chapter 8, and this is paraphrasing in Kunti's prayers, because Canto 1, Chapter 8 is Kunti's prayers. So Krishna protected. And Maharaj Parikshit saw, and Krishna protected. So one of his names, this is a section describing his name, Vira. Because of his natural courage, he was not afraid of the fire of the Brahmastra weapon. For those of you that were with us yesterday, this is review, so I'm going a little quickly. We'll go a little slower when we go further. Vishnu Ratha, one who is protected by Vishnu. Here's different types of protection of the Supreme Lord, of his devotee, found from Katha Upanishad. He gave protection by different potencies. That's everybody. Then his unalloyed devotees, he directly. So in this case, he directly protected. Vishnu Ratha, he protected Maharaj Parikshit. We heard a little bit about Bharata, and pictured on the left is King Bharata, whose descendants are sometimes called Bharata. Just like Arjuna is addressed in some places in Gita as O scion of Bharata. So Maharaj Parikshit similarly. Vrika, Nrishu, tiger amongst men. We saw this chart. I'm not going to do that one. This is the nice part, the astrological prediction. So when he was born, Maharaj Yudhisthira called this, the best astrologers because he was really concerned. He wanted to pass the kingdom on to a qualified heir to the throne. And so the astrologers came, and this is what the astrologers, along with the big, big festival, and what is the sun going to be like? So this is where the graphics change a little bit. Will he be a saintly king? Will be as pious as his very name? Will he be as famous and glorified in his achievements as others who appeared in this great royal family? So here's the reply. So Canto 1, Chapter 12. Nama Vishnu Rata, right directly in the verse. This shall be well known as in the world as one who is protected by the personality of Godhead, Vishnu Rata. O most fortunate one, there's no doubt that his child will be first-class devotee and will be qualified with all good qualities. And then he starts listing some of the astrologers start listing some of his good qualities. Here are some of them. O son of Pritha. So the astrologers are addressing Yudhisthira. This child shall be exactly like King Ikshvaku, son of Manu, in maintaining all those who are born. We're going to give some illustrations. As for the Brahminical principles, especially being true to his promise, he shall be exactly like Rama, the personality of Godhead, the son of Maharaj Dasarath. So very strong. So here's the text, chapter 12, text 19. He'll be maintaining of the praja. We saw a very similar illustration the other day. There's Maharaj Parikshit with a sword raised, and he's going to chop the personality of Kali, who is breaking the legs of the bull. And the personality of Kali, as he was about to be killed, he took shelter of the king, saying, protect me, I take shelter of you, don't kill me. So he didn't kill him, but you give me a place to live. If I'm going to continue to live, where shall I live? You can live where these sinful activities are going on. There's no sinful activities in your kingdom. So, as a protector of the praja, he wasn't just protecting people, he was protecting anyone. In this case, a bull. Here, did we see this chart yesterday? Yes? No. Okay. In the upper left, Lord Rama, how he's being compared to Ramachandra. Lord Rama accepted exile in the forest for 14 years by the order of his father. Maharaj Parikshit accepted the curse of the immature boy as the will of the Supreme Father, Krishna, although he was competent to nullify the curse. So he's being likened to Lord Ramachandra. And then down below, with the Supreme Lord vanquished the demons and made the planet free from demoniac terrorism during his exile. Similarly, Maharaj Parikshit utilized his curse to vanquish the suffering of anyone by facilitating the advent of Srimad Bhagavatam. So, in other words, although there was misfortune that came to him, it was used by Krishna's own arrangement. It was used to bring Srimad Bhagavatam into the world. The Lord's plan. This child will be a magnificent donor of charity and protector of the surrendered, like King Shibi. There's a very nice graphic. I want to go to the very nice graphic. There's King Shibi. And the difference of narration is the bird that's on his left hand, it's a pigeon, at least according to this Mahabharata representation, and then a hawk had come to eat the pigeon or eagle. And according to the Mahabharata, the Indra, the king of heaven, and the Agni, the fire god, they heard about this charitable nature of King Shibi. And so they wanted to check it out. So Agni took the shape of the pigeon, and then the eagle was Indra. So the hawk or eagle came to eat the pigeon. And the pigeon was taking shelter, looking up at Shibi and saying, by his silence and his fearful eyes, give me protection. So the king said to the eagle, let's make a deal. I'll give you flesh of equal weight of the pigeon. But please don't eat the pigeon. So where are you going to get that flesh? He said, I'll cut flesh from my own body. So he had a knife and he started cutting flesh from his body. And there was an arrangement where the weight, to make sure it was the same weight as the pigeon was put on a balance scale, pan scale, and as much weight as he put on the pan scale, it was still, the pigeon was heavier. So he had to put more and more and more. So eventually he sat himself on the pan scale. And then it turns out they revealed who they were. I'm Indra, this is Agni. You passed our test. You're the most charitable person. Who can be so charitable as you? Now, back it says, as religious as Maharaj Yayati. Now, we find about Maharaj Yayati from Canto 9. He's one of the kings in this line of the Surya dynasty. And here's a little depiction of King Yayati. So King Yayati, he was hunting at one, it's similar to the beginning of this narration. He was hunting at one time, and by mistake, he killed an animal that was a mystic yogi in the shape of the animal, but he didn't yet fully kill the mystic yogi. The mystic yogi cursed him that you will lose your age and you'll become a decrepit old man for the rest of your life. So he, King Yayati, already had some sons. So he Yayati, requested the sage that uttered this curse what to do. Is there some way to get mitigation? He said, yes. you can trade your youth, your old age for someone who's young. So he asked his sons, and the son said no. Then he asked his youngest son. The son said okay. So he now, because he, the Yati, had material desires, and he ruled very virtuously, but at the end, he gave up his material desires and he changed back with his son, gave his old age, uh, accepted the old age, and gave his youth back to his son. And in the conclusion of his life, this is chapter 19 of Canto 9. Because of his self-realization, he was able to fix his mind upon Vasudeva, and thus he ultimately achieved the position of an associate of the Lord. So he had a happy ending, but it was a little meandering to get there. A talkative child. And then there's another example that's given, and I'm going to go back here. He will expand the name and fame of his family like Bharata, the son of Maharaj Dushyanta and Shakuntala. Again, this is another ninth canto story, and it's very meandering. But he, Dushmanta, became attracted to Shakuntala. Woo, woo, woo. And he approached her and he spoke very politely, and she was attracted to him. He was very handsome, and he was a king, and an arrangement was made for Shakuntala to become married. That's a long, long story. And then they had a child. It was described as a Gandharva marriage, which means without formalities, just consent. So they had a child, and the child was named Bharata without the long A, not Bharata, but Bharata. And as a little boy, he liked playing with little animals. Only the little animals were big animals, lions and tigers. And he eventually, the sages in the forest gave him a different name instead of Bharata, Sarva Damana. He would dominate or control all living entities without exception. And it is said that he, the boy Bharata, was a partial incarnation of the personality of Godhead, descendant of King Bharata. Bharata. There's many other things that happened, but Bharata, eventually became a king, like many steps in between, and he ruled very virtuously. And so Maharaj Parikshit, is compared to be as an expert of an archer as Arjuna. Now, who can be as expert of an archer as Arjuna? That's not possible. But he was. Amongst great bowmen, this child will be as good as Arjuna. Now, there's some details that I'm not going to go into because of time, but Brihat Bhagavatamrita, in the there's also some explanation of this power of Maharaj Parikshit, but he's very powerful. So the circumstance is Canto 1, Chapter 12. The descendant of the Pandavas is born. Yudhishthira wants to know what's he going to be when he grows up. What's the chart say? So he's getting all these depictions. As irresistible as fire, as unsurpassable as the ocean, as strong as a lion, as worthy a shelter as the Himalaya mountains, forbearing like the earth, tolerant as a mother and father towards their child, like his grandfather Yudhisthira or Brahma in equanimity of mind. He's got a pretty good list. He's going to be a good king. Munificent like the Lord of Kailash hill, Shiva, almost as good as Lord Krishna by following in his footsteps, as magnanimous as King Rantidev. So we're going to see some images of Rantidev and Lord Shiva and other personalities. Bali Maharaj, when he was tied up, patient, in devotion, like Prahlad. So King Rantidev, this is all from Canto 1, Chapter 12. This is these astrological predictions. Did we show this picture yesterday? No, no. Yes, no, no. Okay, now you're seeing. There's Rantidev. So Rantidev was magnanimous. He was charitable. And one of the things he was charitable with was he, as a king, he understood I can give merit or punya to my citizens if I accept austerity and then distribute the fruit of that charity to my citizens. So he underwent a fast for 48 days, not even drinking water. That's severe. And with that, some merit. And the merit, his plan was to distribute that merit to all the citizens so they would flourish and prosper. That was his interest. So because he's a king, they brought him a big feast. That's what's being depicted here. And as he sat down to take the big feast, and there was a brahmana who came and wanted some food. So he gave half of what his meal to the brahmana. And then after there was half the meal left, and then came a Shudra. The Shudra was also hungry, so he then divided half what was left with the Shudra. Then there was another guest that appeared. There you see in the left side, there was a man with some puppies. My puppies are hungry. So he gave the other half that was left to the puppies, and he was happy. And then he had some water. And there was a thirsty beggar that wanted some water. Then he spoke this very nice verse, what great good fortune can one have to be able, in a position to be able to make gifts to all these wonderful people. And this is the duty of a king. So with that, as you see in the upper part of the painting, Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma revealed we were actually those persons that came and asked these items from you. You wanted to check your magnanimity, and you get a straight A in your exam. So as magnanimous as King Rantidev, as patient as King Bali, when Bali was put into difficulty by not providing the third pace of land, he was tied up and didn't protest. He didn't say anything. Other people that witnessed all of this, they protested. Wait a minute. He surrendered everything. You have nothing left. And you're tying him up like a criminal? What's this? But Bali said nothing, and he wasn't like whimpering or angry or anything. He was just very patient. And then Vamana said what Vamana said. I did this to show to all of you. In the painting, you see that in the foreground in a kind of golden robe, wearing a crown. That's Prahlad Maharaj. Because Prahlad Maharaj was the grandfather of Bali Maharaj. So he came and gave his opinion. This is very good. What Vamana has done. It's very good. So Then Vamana spoke, saying, I just wanted to show all of you, just see the quality of Bali. I will become his devotee. I'll give him a kingdom better than the kingdom he presently has, and I'll stand at the doorway to protect him personally. Devoted, like Prahlad, here's the hardships that Prahlad underwent, and certainly Maharaj Parikshit had hardships as well. After hearing about his death, this is again the prophecy. After hearing about his death, which will be caused by the bite of a snake bird sent by a son of a Brahmana, he will get himself freed from all material attachment and surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, taking shelter of him. This is still the astrologers speaking. After inquiring about proper self-knowledge from the great son of Vyasadeva, who will be a great philosopher, he will renounce all material attachment and achieve a life of fearlessness. We saw this. From childhood, according to Jiva and Goswami and Vishwanath, he would conduct Krishna pastimes with his classmates or his friends. And Sridhar Swami says he worshipped a family deity of Krishna in his childhood. So we covered his kingly responsibilities. We didn't cover the other three. That's where we ended yesterday. So his kingly responsibilities. Maharaj Parikshit conquered all parts of the earth planet. Here it names some of the places. And exacted tributes from their respective rulers. Now, what does he do with all that taxes or tributes? It goes to the citizens. He protected, there's another of the same paintings. He's with his sword raised, ready to chop the personality of Kali, who is breaking the legs of the bull, pictured over on the right-hand side. He's the protector of everyone. And he acted at least to intervene, because just after Krishna's departure, it's now Kali Yuga. And so he diminished the influence of the personality of Kali in this way. Maharaj Parikshit inquired from Shukadeva Goswami, I am therefore begging to show you the way of perfection for all persons, and especially one who is about to die, like himself. Please let me know what a man should hear, chant, remember. Shrotavya kirtitavya shadhyaya pujas chanityada. And what he should not do. Please explain all this to me. So he's interested not only in his own welfare, but he's a king. So he's interested even in very dire situations. What's of the best well-being for all citizens? Now, next, as an ideal king, he knew how to, because we all have circumstances that are difficult. I don't know anyone that doesn't have difficulty. Everyone has difficulty. And his difficulty was very severe. And the circumstance was he was on tour, as kings will do. And one of the things that happened was he became unbecoming, unlike his character. He became overwhelmed by thirst. Later he fasted for 7 days, no water, nothing. He became overwhelmed with thirst. What's that? It was inspired by the personality of Godhead for this purpose. So here's the sage Shamak Rishi with a snake draped around his neck, the way that the BBT artist depicted it. He came inside the cottage overwhelmed with thirst, seeking water. And a common courtesy, not just for a Brahmana, but for anyone who receiving a guest, ABC. It's just standard procedure. Some kind words, offering a seat, and some refreshment. None of those were done because the sage was in meditation, in trance of meditation. And so the king became upset. What kind of hospitality is this? I'm the king. You're a brahmana. You don't know how to show proper courtesy for the king. So as the way the narration goes in the Bhagavatam, as he entered his little cottage, he had seen a dead snake outside the cottage door. So he went back outside, picked up his sword, picked up the serpent and placed the dead serpent, around his neck. And later, this picture on the right, the boys that were playing, they heard what happened with his father. So he became really angry. Shringi was his name, and Shamakrishi was the father's name. So he became really angry, and he uttered a mantra, touched water, uttered a curse that the king would die in 7 days, a death curse. And here's the little boy coming back to tell his father, with tears in his eyes, what just happened. And his father was shocked. My son, what have you done? But once a curse is uttered, it can't be taken back. And so he, the father, went to tell the sage. He went to tell the king. Guess what? You're going to die in 7 days. So please do the needful. Now, here's some commentary. To become angry in such a grave situation was not unnatural for a king, but because the king himself was not less than a great saint, his becoming angry and taking action were astonishing. This is Prabhupada's commentary. So it must be accepted that it was ordained by the supreme will of the Lord, Krishna's plan. Now the king heard that he would be cursed to die. So here's Prabhupada's explanation of how he received that message. Even if you have got very good kingdom, very nice wife, very nice society, how long? And if there's any mistake, next life you can get something else. But Parikshit Maharaj's life, from childhood, he's a devotee of Krishna. So, the Brahmana went to inform the king. And when the king heard, he just heard. And he accepted, because I've offended a great personality. I deserve punishment. If this is the punishment that is ordained for me, so be it. He just accepted that. That is to say, this characteristic of detachment. By when we make mistakes, there's other options, but he didn't go to counteract the curse. That he knew how to do, but he didn't do. He accepted. So this was the curse given to him. He accepted. He could counteract it. Parikshit Maharaj was a Vaishnav. He was very powerful, but he thought, yes, I'm an offender. That Brahmin boy has cursed me. I shall accept it. So once he accepted, then he knew what the next thing to do. He took his kingdom and entrusted the kingdom to his eldest son. Janamejaya became the next king. And he renounced his royal garments and treasury and everything, took on the clothes of a mendicant, and went by the side of the river Ganga, and was prepared to undergo fasting till death. That was his plan. Transcendental platform from a transcendental personality. He prepared himself for death for 7 days. He placed himself on the bank of the Ganges without drinking a drop of water, And for 7 days continually, he heard Srimad Bhagavatam from Shukadeva Goswami. So that was a little bit of yesterday's discussion, Shukadeva Goswami. Again, Canto 1, Chapter 19. This is Prabhupada's commentary, purport. When he was assured of his death on a fixed date, he became more determined in the transcendental loving service of Lord Krishna by completely fasting on the bank of the transcendental river Yamuna. We went through this. Was it by the bank of the Ganges or the Yamuna? Remember that? Well, here we go again. Controversy. This is taken, this particular sentence, next to Kurukshetra, in the northern part of the adjoining forest is Shukratal along the Ganga. So the Bhagavatam speaks of the Yamuna, and here it speaks of the Ganga. Srila Jiva Goswami has commented on the next verse that the king took shelter on the bank of the Yamuna appears to be more accurate because of the geographical situation. Maharaj Parikshit resided in his capital, Hastinapur, and the river Yamuna flows past the city. Naturally, the king would take shelter of the river Yamuna because she was flowing past his palace door. Okay, controversy. I read something that I read it like 6 times and I couldn't understand it. According to something Bhaktisiddhanta wrote in different essays in different circumstances, the way that he wrote it, I couldn't follow it. But, get used to reading Bhaktisiddhanta, you can't always understand what he writes. What he expressed was there were 3 places. The third time that the Bhagavatam was spoken was Sutta spoke to the sages at Naimisharanya, different place. But the first 2 times, one was by the banks of the Jamuna, the second time was by the bank of the Ganga. I couldn't follow it. Shukadeva Goswami spoke the Bhagavatam twice, according to what Bhaktisiddhanta was writing. And I've never heard that before. And maybe I shouldn't have brought it up because how am I going to answer something like that? Because I don't know. The goal, this is from Canto 3, Chapter 13. The goal of a person engaged in hearing scripture from the Guru for a long time, praised by the great devotees, is hearing the glories of those in whose hearts Mukunda resides. Canto 3, Chapter 13. So Maharaj Parikshit, this is how he dealt with adversity. At least one very, very big circumstance is he just accepted. Then a phrase that's used throughout is he's on the topmost position of Dharma, beyond the worldly Dharma, included in the world, but beyond Dharma, seeking saintly association. During those 7 days, he had wanted all the sages, he invited all the sages to come, and at the time of death, he was fearless. This is what he said. Again, offering obeisances to all you Brahmanas, I pray that if I should again take my birth in the material world, I will have complete attachment to the unlimited Lord Krishna, 1, association with his devotees, 2, and friendly relations with all living beings. Pretty good. I've heard from you this Srimad Bhagavatam, now addressing not just the Brahmanas, but Shukadev, which is the perfect summary for all the Puranas and which perfectly describes the supreme Lord, Uttama Shloka. My Lord, I now have no fear of Takshaka or any other living being because the serpent that was going to bite him had a name, Takshaka. It was a mystical. There's no such thing as a flying bird, but it's a mystical bird. Or any other living being, or even repeated deaths, because I have absorbed myself in the purely spiritual absolute truth which you have revealed and which destroys all fear. So kneeling before Maharaj Parikshit, he's ready. O Brahmana, please give me permission to resign my speech and the functions of all my senses unto Lord Adhokshaja. Powerful. So, what happened while this little conversation was going on? Takshaka was approaching. And as Takshaka was approaching, he was disguised as a Brahmana. And as he was walking towards where the king was, he ran into or bumped into another sage named Kashyapa Muni. And he asked Kashyapa Muni, the Takshaka is in the guise of a Brahmana, and asked Kashyapa Muni, are you going to the same place as I am? Are you going to where Maharaj Parikshit is going to meet his death? He said, yes. As a matter of fact, I'm carrying with me some herbs and some mantras, and I have the power of withdrawing any poison or any the antidote through mantra and herbs. Really? How capable are you? He wanted to test him. So here's a little cartoon depicting on uh, the upper left is Takshaka and the blackish figure, and then the sage Kashyapa Muni. So Takshaka formed the feature of a serpent, and he just bit a tree. And when he bit the tree, the poison was so virulent that instantly the tree burst into flames and evaporated. The tree was dead. Then Takshaka said his mantras and gave his herbs, and the tree came back to life. That was depicted in lower right. And so Kashyapa Muni said, wow, that was pretty good. Uh, when you go there, is your plan, because he's the king, you're going to accept some dakshin? You said, oh, Brahmins always accept dakshin. Any service received from a Brahmin is incomplete without dakshin. Okay. So if I give you a substantial dakshin, can you go the other direction? Sure, I can go the other direction. So that's this BBT painting. Maybe you've noticed in the lower right corner, that fellow that's carrying this big, treasure chest. That's Kashyapa Muni. Okay, you got a bribe. And then Takshaka transformed himself again into the serpent, and then he attacked the king, and instantly the king burst into flames. But he went back to Godhead. His mind, as he said in the concluding words of chapter 19 of Canto 1, his mind was completely absorbed. So we know what happens. He got the result of his offending the Brahmana in the form of this manner of death, but his mind was fixed upon the personality of Godhead. So it was for the world. He provided the opportunity for the world to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, and Sutta Goswami was in the audience to hear it. So he then repeated it, and so it was carried on. And he, demonstrated fearlessness. This character that Maharaj Yudhisthira was wanting to hear about from the astrologers. And sure enough, so that's our this evening's presentation on Maharaj Parikshit. And we have one more evening. Yes? It was worth the, I mean, apology to some of you because we did some of this yesterday, the earlier parts, but the graphics are worth seeing it again because Shibi and Yayati and all this history. It's nice history. The Bhagavatam, this here's a final message. The Bhagavatam, in one sense, it's revealing Krishna, but the Bhagavatam in revealing Krishna reveals the absolute truth. So there's details and details and details leading up to Krishna's appearance in Canto 10. And the subtitle of Canto 9 is there are circumstances, like Yayati is one, where there are circumstances where one is too much attracted to material opulence. There's desires that they're obstacles for pure bhakti, because for Krishna to appear, that one has to have pure bhakti. And if the heart is not pure, Krishna is not going to appear. He may. He may make a sudden appearance like he did with Maharaj Parikshit or with Narada Muni. Make a sudden appearance and then that's it. You're not going to see me again for the rest of your life. So there's hankering. I want to end with a different story. This is not on topic. It's a different story, but it's on the topic of Krishna can appear if he so desires. One time, we were on a visit to Vrindavan, a yatra, and a group of us, our whole group was with Dinabandhu. How many here know who's Dinabandhu? Many of you know. In your lifetime, please meet Dinabandhu. He's a wonderful Vaishnava. He's a Brajbasi in his blood, but by his citizenship, I don't think he's Indian. I think he's American. And he loved Vrindavan. He loved Vrindavan. He loved Vrindavan. He rarely leaves Vrindavan. Sometimes he leaves Vrindavan. He came a couple summers ago to travel in America. Did he come here? Oh, so you know who he is from that. Very amazing person. Very funny and so many descriptions. So he took us to a place that I had never been before. It's like a Dinabandhu special. And there's a nice platform where he and I could sit. And then there's, a big area and a humongous banyan tree. And he described this as one of the places where Krishna and Balaram would come. And he did the Dinabandhu. He took us to, we were there in Vrindavan, but by his kata, that at any moment, the cowherd boys and Krishna could just show up. It was that kind of mood. And he described that sometimes on the river Jamuna is not so far away. The banyan, the limb of the banyan tree reached all the way across the river Jamuna, and the cowherd boys would walk across the branch and come to that side of the river Jamuna and herd the calves. And it's like, just by his words, he carries you to ecstasy. One of the devotees, then we had a break. There was kirtan and japa. He just wanted us to immerse ourselves in the mood of the place. So one of the devotees went on a japa walk and came back and privately said, Krishna and the cowherd boys were there. This is just, because of Krishna that the eternal pastimes of Krishna are withdrawn, they become aprakat instead of manifest. but each pastimes of Krishna are eternally going on in Vrindavan. And some devotees have this very special privilege that Krishna, whether not fully matured in their bhakti, but Krishna may encourage them and reveal something. In this case, this devotee, hearing Krishna's flute and looking in the direction and seeing all the cowherd boys, and I don't know how long that vision lasted, and then poof, they just disappeared. Nitya Lila. Nitya Lila Pravishta. Okay. Maharaj Parikshit. Any discussion? Yeah. I go.
Incarnation.
Yeah, I mentioned. What does it mean?
Yeah,
Not full.
not full.
Not full. In other words, we won't find this name, Parata, in the list of avatars. It's carrying a portion of, it's something like Shaktivesh, but a partial incarnation. So it's not exactly this, or it's not Vishnu Tattva, and he's a jiva, but carrying some of the potency of the Supreme. So one might say, but our acharyas don't say a Shaktivesh avatar, they say partial incarnation. So that's the meaning. Carrying some of the potency of, but only a small portion of the potency of. And they're powerful. Powerful.
So would his flesh be material?
Huh?
Would his flesh be material?
His quest?
His flesh, like his
Flesh,
body.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Yes. Nice question. Nice question.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Here's just for fun's sake, I'm responding to this, was his body made of flesh? In Bhaktisiddhanta's letters, he would sometimes, sometimes give answers to specific questions. In one letter he wrote, it's in a book that has his letters published. You ask what is my spiritual form? And the answer he gave was very surprising. The answer he gave was that the pure devotees of the Lord, he didn't say him, he said the pure devotees of the Lord, their forms are their spiritual forms. In their pastimes of this world, and they have gopi forms in Goloka Vrindavan, but their Boma form is what it is, and that's a spiritual form. That was his answer. I never heard that one before. It's a boomerang answer. No, what does that mean? I don't know what it means, but it's a little bit, responsive to your question. Was his body material? Material, but not the same kind of material as yours and mine. Someone else? Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for the wonderful class. I was just curious about one part of the place where Yudhishthir Maharaj was concerned about the well-being of the citizens, which is why he wanted to know.
The sound system is not helping me to hear.
Oh,
Can you do without the speaker?
I can.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
So I was just curious about the part where Yudhishthir Maharaj was concerned about the well-being of the citizens.
Yes, yes.
And he wanted to know is Parikshit Maharaj going to be like the suitable person?
Yes, yes.
But there was also a place where when Yudhishthir Maharaj heard that Krishna had left,
Yeah,
they immediately wanted to leave as well.
yes.
And Parikshit Maharaj, I believe, is not grown up yet or not situated yet
That's right.
to take up the throne.
No, he transferred the kingdom and then moved on.
Correct, but he's not situated.
Yes, he was situated.
Oh,
He had become the king.
oh,
He didn't leave, say Haribol.
yeah.
He entrusted the kingdom to him and then left.
Yeah, I mean, but Parikshit Maharaj might be a small boy.
No, 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 no.
No, okay.
No, no.
Okay.
Huh?
They ruled for a long time after.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
He wasn't a young boy.
Okay. I was just. Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. Thank you for the wonderful class. I've just written something down.
Go ahead.
So it's maybe a little longer question, but I'll try to be as clear as possible. So Maharaj Parikshit embodied like all the virtues of ideal ruler, right? As narrated by you, like humility, compassion, and all that. Yet, despite this astrological confirmed qualities, he still committed an offense toward a sage.
But you heard the answer why and how,
Yes.
how and why.
Yes,
Induced by when Yogamaya wants something to happen, you don't say no.
Yes, yeah. Yeah. So my question is, so what exactly does this reveal about the nature of our conditioned mind?
But his wasn't a conditioned mind. Please be careful with your question. Our conditioned mind is conditioned.
Mhm.
His mind is not conditioned. He's a pure devotee. He didn't have a conditioned mind.
I see.
All these elevated qualities, they weren't just decorations, they're exhibitions of his character.
Okay.
From the get-go, from
Right.
still within the womb. So
Right.
this misconduct, the offense, was induced.
Right.
Not the conditioned mind kind that we might do.
So what can we learn from this incident for our own sadhana?
Well, it depends. For our own sadhana. The stage of spiritual perfection looks like this. That's one of the exhibitions of the stage of spiritual perfection. But there's characters. So a target for us in sadhana. What's the target? The target for us in sadhana is pure devotion, and pure devotion. If you're a kshatriya, it may take some of these characteristics. If you're an ideal kshatriya. So sadhana has a sadhya. In simple terms, because it's easier to understand and best to understand things in simple terms, Prabhupada did not encourage us to strive to become, perfect kshatriyas. With these characteristics that he's exhibiting. This is the characteristics of a king. So your question is, what's the lesson for our sadhana? That's your question. The stage of perfection is it's not simply destiny because he'll become the stars say he'll be like this and like that and the other thing. But it's for our sadhana, whatever our astrological forecast may be, stage of perfection, the door is open. And if you or any person wants to become or is to become a great ruler, then here's some of the characteristics. But for the rest of us, for the sake of our sadhana, honor the great personalities. And that's what we do to enhance our sadhana. Here's a great personality. In these ways, we just look up and honor the great personality as along with doing our sadhana. Let me just share, for example, in sadhana, in preparation for this class, and from yesterday evening's class, during part of this morning's japa, and then the practices that I was doing during the day, I was meditating on these qualities, and it's it's purifying because he's like Krishna as an ideal follower of Krishna. So meditating on for our sadhana purposes, meditating one who is totally attached to Krishna, that's sadhana. Honoring a devotee that's like that, and it's part of the life of our our devotional practice, immersing ourselves in topics of Srimad Bhagavatam. It may be about this or that or the other or the other or the other. It doesn't have to be Krishna and Vrindavan. It can be whatever. And even those that fall short because they're attached to something. The whole of the Bhagavatam is for that same purpose. It's part of our sadhana. It's just the hearing of these personalities and the Lord Himself doing what He does.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Okay. Anyone else? Wow. Letting me off the hook. How about our young ladies in the front row? You listen very carefully. You have anything you want to share? Nothing. Okay. Well, I'll compliment you. You're pretty attentive listeners. Well done. Yay. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Question is regarding Arjuna.
Regarding Arjuna.
Arjuna, what Arjuna being great warrior,
Yeah.
and he's Naranarayana, one of the form of Narayana.
Yeah.
But he's in the human form. What he has lot of qualities. Lot of qualities he has, and what we can incur and relate to present time, how we can use it in the sadhana.
The same type of question. Honoring a great devotee, same type of answer.
Okay.
I mean, there's details and intricacies. I'll share something that's not exactly what your question, the answer to your question, but it's something. In our visit to Haridwar, and then retelling that visit to Haridwar during the Thanksgiving weekend, one whole section was dedicated to Narayan, because that's where they are, the Himalayas and Badrik Ashram, and this and that and the other. So they, Narayan, yes, manifestation of Krishna and Arjuna, and there are many, many, many. According to Acharya's descriptions, when Krishna and Arjuna appear, they have many different features and forms and names, not just Narayan and Krishna and Arjuna. And how does that happen? It's not like there's a soul. In the case of Arjuna, he's not Vishnu Tattva, he's Jiva Tattva. But he has a very particular relationship with Krishna. And when Krishna is there in various forms, Arjuna is there in his service. There's many, so not just those, the point is, not just those two. Now, what does that have to do with our sadhana? Which is your question, and your question also. You know, the potency of the personality of Godhead is without limit. The person whom we're worshiping, the person who is worthy of being worshipped, is such a person. They're 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 unlimited. They're the source of everything, and thus they can appear, and they appear in so many different ways. How wonderful is my Lord! So that's the sadhana takeaway. One of the sadhana takeaways. You know, that's Aishvarya feature. It's not the Madhurya feature, but it's he's the supreme. And let me count the ways. And you'll go on counting, you won't find the end. And that's it's inspiration. Day to day sadhana, it's inspiration to hear more and more and more the endless wonderful glories of the unlimited supreme. And the Bhagavatam is filled. And then there's other literatures that augment the Bhagavatam, like writings of Rupa Goswami and so forth. It's Hari Katha that nourishes our bhakti. You want to add something back there?
Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for the wonderful class. Maharaj, I had a unrelated question.
Unrelated. Uh-oh, I don't like unrelated questions. I don't want to go there. I have a rule. Another time.
Okay.
The reason,
Maharaj.
there's a reason. It's a Prabhupada reason. The reason is, I heard like, not always, but enough times, 4 or 5 times, Prabhupada would ask, when somebody raised an off-topic question, he'd ask, what is it? Could you describe what that has any relationship with the topic? We just spent 45 minutes discussing something. Is there some relation? And the answer was no. Then Prabhupada said, please don't ask such questions because it diffuses the 45 minutes worth of absorption in a certain topic, in a certain direction. Ask it another time.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Sorry. But there's a reason.
Guru Maharaj, there is an online question.
An online question.
Yeah, it's by Archie Mataji. So she's saying, Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj was the barrier for Kali to reign the world. Then
He was
why?
the what for what?
Parikshit Maharaj was the barrier
Barrier?
for Kali to reign the world.
Cream?
Reign, like to rule.
Rule.
Right.
Oh, rain. Okay.
Yeah. Then why Parikshit Maharaj was destined to depart so early?
Well, why? Krishna's plan. He wanted him to come back to Godhead and hear Srimad Bhagavatam and Haribol.
And in the last line, she's saying, and maybe I don't know, it's just a question mark at the end, but she's saying, is it for making path clear for Kali to rule?
No. Why he didn't kill the person of the Kali is because Maharaj Parikshit understood, being a learned Vaishnava, that this is the age of Kali, and this is the personality of Kali. So I can't kill him because it's Krishna's plan that there's going to be an age of Kali, and he's the guy. So he didn't kill him. He could have. He didn't. He interfere with Krishna's plan. I can't take this screaming. I'm sorry. So let's end. See the Prabhupada ki jai.